Hey guys, what's going on? Just thought I'd give you a little update on what we've been working on lately. Um, Today, or this last week actually, we were doing a lot of work to this 2003 Chevy Silverado dump truck. Uh, the reason why it's in here is there's some clunking going on in the front of the truck, so we redid the whole front end, and there's YouTube videos out there on how to do that. So I won't really dive much into that, but we redid the pitman arm, eyelet arm, tie rods, the whole thing. So next thing was cab mounts. These things over time they wear out and they get shot, so they end up leading to clunking or making noises, or even sometimes they just become loose. So we were trying to diagnose the clunking noise in this truck, and it led us to cab mounts. So that's why I'm making this video. We ended up purchasing new cab mounts online. It came in a kit. The kit was good enough for a crew cab, so that's why there's some extras here. The fourth one is over there. And we only used 4 on this truck because we didn't really see it fit to redo the front ones on the radiator and core support. They looked okay, and the noise really wasn't coming from way up here. So I decided to make this video just because there's stuff that we learned from this, and I kind of want to share it with you. So right off the bat, the location for these things are right here. You can see on the frame here, that's one cab mount, and right here there's another cab mount. Like I said before, there's one up front here, but it's the exact same on the other side. So excuse me. The first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself set up with a ratchet and socket. Don't go straight to the impact on these. The ratchet and socket is going to be your best friend on this, and it is a 17 millimeter. Now, on this truck, and maybe on your truck, there might be different sizes. We ended up having a 15 millimeter up here, 17 millimeter back here, 17 millimeter on the other back side, and a 18 millimeter on the front passenger side. So that can vary depending on who's owned your truck before you and if they've ever messed with this stuff before. So just throwing that out there. Also, the next thing you're going to want to do is, for us, we live in the Rust Belt, so we wanted to make sure our socket seated well on that bolt. So I took a wire brush to that and actually beat the socket on with a hammer. So I made sure it was contacted well, so I didn't strip the head out. And, the next thing you want to do is just slowly starting to loosen it. It's going to feel tight at first because these things are tight. But once you break that free, just keep going with loosening it until, you bind up. And what ends up happening is, because these things are threaded up into the cab, over time, they collect a lot of moisture and rust forms up in there. So they're going to bind up when you try to unscrew them. That's why the impact is your worst enemy in this, because it'll just snap them off. So like I was saying, when you're loosening them, once you get a bind up, don't just reef on it. Tighten it again, and then slowly work it back out. Just keep doing that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This driver's side actually came out fairly well, which is surprising because you would think all all the road debris on the middle of the road, all the salt and everything, that this driver's side would be the worst thing. But the passenger side ended up actually being our nightmare. And I'm gonna, talk you through this on how to work through it. So this is actually one of the bolts out of the passenger side. If the camera will focus here. Maybe. There we go. Okay. So see what happens here? The end up by the head of this bolt ends up becoming really skinny because of all the rust and water and moisture just building up there. So this is why you do not want to take your impact to it. That is going to end up snapping right here and cause you a lot bigger headaches. So we didn't know that going into this, so that's why we decided we were going to just be gentle with them. And what we ended up doing was removing the ground strap on both sides of the cab and taking a jack, a floor jack, and you can see here, jacking up right here on the cab. This will get you some movement back here or on both mounts. Make sure the other side is bolted so the whole cab doesn't like fall off the frame. But it'll give you some movement to where you're able to kind of take a pry bar. It's kind of hard to see, but take a pry bar and pop this old mount down a little bit and expose the threads on the actual cab bolts. So then once you can see those threads, I recommend taking some PB Blaster, or actually we've had great success with acetone and ATF. Just mix those 50-50 and squirt that on the threads and slowly just tighten and loosen, tighten and loosen. And what ends up happening is that fluid gets up into the threads in the cab and it breaks down the rust and all the problems that you're fighting. But it does take time, so time is your best friend on this. So we ended up getting the other side out, and like I said, these are the two bolts from that side, the passenger side. The driver's side was a lot better, but this is, the cab mount, the old cab mount, and what we were dealing with. As you can see, they're pretty well shot, and this wasn't even our worst one. So the kit didn't come with the new dome, top dome, or bottom washers, or it did come with bottom washers, but not a new dome. So we ended up reusing the dome, which just slides back in here. Two-piece, right? So this goes up on top along with the dome. That goes on top of this mount here on top. And then you take this piece, send it up through the bottom, and they go together. And then you take your washer that comes in the kit along with the bolt, the new bolt. And the cab is obviously still jacked up at this point. You can lower the cab and line up your bolt to the threads and start to tighten it. I do also recommend that you put anti-seize on these things so this doesn't happen in the future if you ever need to go change them out. So other than that, you know, lower the cab back down, tighten them up a little bit, and then just do the same on the other side. Make sure you loosen your ground straps and reattach them. So yeah, that's pretty much what we had going on here. I just thought I'd share what we had success with and the do's and don'ts of doing this cab mount swap. Like I said, don't take an impact to these, and time is your friend. Also, lubrication. So we'll catch you on the next video.